Okay, Grant Findlay-Shirras, you're back in one of our awesome podcast containers. We've had you on many different sort of versions of our different shows, actually. Now we're doing a whole new lens around buying a business, and especially if you are a business owner and or someone in tech, and or you're at your job and you've hit a big glass ceiling and you just want more autonomy and freedom and some equity growth outside of your real estate. Yeah, you've pulled the trigger and gone through the ropes. So, Grant, thanks for jumping on, and I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, I'm excited I've been thinking so much about this. I have so many like new epiphanies and like worldviews having gone through this whole journey and like everything I did in the past. I think just on big picture, holy shit, more people should do this.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And so you came just again from a tech lens. You sort of had your little exit from on the tech side, and that was a story in itself and many learnings. But I guess maybe just where you are right now in like quote unquote a less sexy business for like if you're asking, I guess, media and people that don't know a lot about businesses, yeah, to some degree, right? There's you're now in like a brick and mortar business. So tech from brick and mortar, talk quickly about the mindset shift to then be like, you know what? I want to go lower stress and or bigger upside and or fill in the blanks. What made the transition mentally? And then let's talk about the process. How'd you find the first business and resources you used beforehand to figure all that out? Let's get into it.
Cool. So to give you some context, so like my first business ever was events and promotions. So hustling to put on and drive people to events, nightlife. My second business was fitness. So then I was my own service provider, and how do I make six figures and hustle and go do that? Mm-hmm. Then my third business was a real estate marketing company that to the world was a software company. But really, the solution was lead generation, branding, marketing to help real estate agents grow their business. That was the big one. So that one went from 0 to 37 plus million. We were doing 6 million a year for like 5 years at the end in a row. Mm-hmm. Had like 40 to 80 people, between those last few periods. Like the tech thing, like everyone, and you like, we had the tech thing. Mm-hmm. And then things went bad at the end. It did not end up like we thought it was going to end up.
Right.
But we still had a lot of money from the success we had over 10 years. So, my life changed. So I was in a new place. So here I was in 2024, no business, no staff, no people, no income, no expense account, trying to think like, what am I going to do? And so the first thought was like, oh, go start another business. And I think like even when I had businesses, I was like, what other businesses can I start? Mm-hmm. And I had like these guys who were older and more successful than me being like, Grant, like, why? Why do you want to start a business? You should go buy a business. And I'm like, buy a business? So like the first thing mentally was even people seeding into my brain that was even impossible. They're like, you can do it. Like you've been successful in business. You can buy a business. You have money. You know how to do business. You should go buy a business. It's so much better. Mm-hmm. So I had some people, and I'm so thankful that I had some mentors and advisors, like just giving me the idea. And so like it was in the back of my brain as we were figuring out like what to do with our life. And we definitely thought through a whole bunch of ideas of what to start. But we're like, now we know how hard it is. Mm-hmm. Like it is so hard to start a business from nothing. Unfortunately, we're not naive and young anymore. We know exactly what that road is. Mm-hmm. It's so hard. Mm-hmm. So you really have to believe in the idea. Really got to love it. And I'm not never going to do it again. But oh my God, it is so much easier to buy a business and make it better. Mm-hmm. So we luckily started to look at businesses. So we're like, all right, let's explore this buying business thing. So we started reading books, we started researching, looking at businesses to buy, started evaluating.
You want to drop
deals.
the main books you read, resources?
Yeah,
on the topic?
the best one was Buy Then Build by Walker Diebel. Cody Sanchez has a new book out. I read it. It's good. I think Walker Diebel's book is better.
Built to Sell, obviously. I mean, that's a bit of a different book, that's a classic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like literally Buy Then Build, like has the whole thing. There's a couple other ones, like other podcasts I listen to. I really like the podcast Acquiring Minds. Mm-hmm. That podcast is really good because they're interviewing people who have bought businesses and their whole journey, like kind of like this. Now, hopefully, I'll explain my journey and like what went well, what worked, why we didn't buy other businesses, why we bought this one, how we turned it around, all that stuff. So it's like a podcast of a whole bunch of more people, and you can find people because they've been doing it for so long. You can find people who have a similar background to you, probably in terms of like they came from this industry beforehand. They were a business owner. They had a job, and they live in my area, or they're interested in the businesses I'm interested in, and they bought a business that I'm interested in my area. So you can see. So I really like that one. And then, but there's not a lot of people who are into it. Like, no, I don't know many people my age or in my group who I could talk to about it. It was like my dad's friends. And so we started looking at businesses and got clear on the industry. And that's super, super, super important is like, okay, what businesses do we feel confident buying that we know based on our strengths, our experiences, we would likely be able to make this a win? Because if we're going to put a good chunk of our savings that we built from our last business into a new business, the last thing I want to do is go back to zero again, have to build this like war chest up. So it's like, okay, what are we likely going to be good at? And Amanda, my wife, was like interior design. Like that's what she went to school for. So she's passionate about. She would do it for free. She will improve the look of people's homes and our home for free all day, every day. And luckily, so then we're like, once we settle on that, start looking at businesses. And what was really cool, and here is a best practice that I will do again. We looked at multiple businesses of the same kind. Wow, how helpful was that? To do due diligence on multiple businesses of the same kind. So they have some people say, oh, don't buy a business, like buy a business where you live. Like the first businesses you should buy, you should live in that area. The problem is you may not find multiple businesses of the same kind to buy.
Yeah.
And are you really against moving? Are you really against if the business is profitable enough, like going to be in that city for a week every quarter,
right?
1 or 2 weeks every quarter? Like for us, we did 2.5 months to take over the company, and then now we're back home again, and then we'll go back for a week or two every 2 months. Is that big of a deal? No. And then we got to do due diligence on multiple businesses of the same kind to see the inner workings and really put them against each other. And we withdrew an offer from one and went with the other because when you do due diligence, like you get to really learn everything about a business as if you want.
You learn the benchmarks too for that specific niche. So you had like what 3 or 4 interior design companies you were DDing at the same time. I mean, I got questions around like the deal flow, how like all the work ones are taking to actually get those meetings, to find it. Did you find a broker? Maybe we'll get into that.
Yeah, we on a high level, we looked at a bunch of businesses, got clear on what we were looking for. It happened because like potentially we would have found health businesses that were for sale that I was into, but we didn't. We found interior design and staging businesses that Amanda's into. Okay, great. So we start analyzing those businesses, and there was 4 of them. We did due diligence on 2, seeked out advice from a bunch of different people, got a bunch of different people to look at the businesses and give us their feedback, and then we eventually just ended up buying one, took it over January 1st. There's some other cool things that I would do again. So I would love to do due diligence. When we buy another business, I'm going to try to do due diligence on multiple of the same kind. And the owner was super nice guy, old retirement, and just wanted to get out. He allowed us to meet the key people before we committed.
Right.
So important.
Yeah, I bet.
So important.
Yeah.
Anyone who says no, not buying your company.
Yeah.
So much risk. There's so much risk in that, because you need to like the GM. Because unless you want to buy a business where you're buying a job, which kind of defeats the purpose. The whole point is to buy a business where you are an owner, an investor. You can work on the business to help it grow, but you're never going in the business, which is a real struggle when you're building a business, because you have to be in it to build it.
Correct.
And then to pull yourself out is tough.
Yeah.
So to be able to just start from altitude and just work on the business, so amazing, so much easier. Like lifestyle is like amazing compared to building a business and owning one from scratch.
Yeah.
And then he let us meet the key people. So we're like, we like this GM, so we can work with her.
Yeah.
And then because certain paperwork makes the deal done, but the actual date that you take it over can be pushed into the future. So I will always forever be like, look, we're going to know that this deal is done by this date. I don't want to take it over until that date. And I want to be able to hang around your team in the meantime, because I want to be able to learn and listen and take it all in, and then have an action plan of change and what we're going to do on day one, so that I am more profitable, more successful, accelerating in the right direction on day one versus learning and thinking on day one. I don't want to be learning and thinking. I want to have done the main learning and thinking prior to taking over. I want to have a vision and a plan right from day one. That doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah,
so happy that happened for us. And
what's the longest you can extend there, usually, practically speaking? You guys did for how long?
2 weeks. So we got 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks.
So
now here was really cool. In those 2 weeks, it was Christmas. So like we had no Christmas and no New Year's, because we were just like doing all these changes.
And neither did the staff, which I'm sure they loved that.
So the staff, well, they were on break anyway.
Yeah.
And so, and the owner was like paying for all that salary and all that stuff prior. Yeah. But we got to learn, and then we got a break, but to still be there. So it was a really, really good situation for us. And I think for sure you can have like 2 to 4 weeks between like the deal is done, and then I'll say, well, the deal's done. Let me hang out. Why not? Let your team know. Because also your team, if you just like come and shock them day one, that's a risk for the new owner too. That's a piece of shit solution for them. So the team really liked it, and our team is now loving the new situation. And so we can go into a little bit bits and pieces, but
that's an important piece.
Like I would assume of how it started.
Love it. Okay. Well, this being, of course, a financing podcast, curious on the financing side, how was financing for you? Who did you work with? If you can disclose, down payment, etc., whatever you can share on financial.
So interesting. So first of all, buying a business is very much the wild, wild west. That was one of my big takeaways from, talking to lots of people who have done it before.
Okay.
The way you can structure a deal, like, whatever your mind can come up with that you can sell the other person on. Now, the typical structures of it are to the seller, there's the purchase price, there's how much they're receiving up front, then there's some deferred or earn out, like some payment that will come later. What do I get up front? What amount of money will I get later? And what is the certainty around that money later? Is it an earn out based on performance? Is it just straight up, I get this after 4 months, you just are holding it back for a reason, which I would try to increase the holdback in the future. But in essence, that's what the seller thinks about. The buyer, even though you're paying a whole bunch of money up front and total for the business, the bank can finance, depending on the business, up to 90%. So we put down, essentially, not these are exact numbers, essentially we put down $50,000 to buy a $500,000 business.
Yeah, for 10%. Got it.
because this is the rub, which I'm now realizing and thinking through as I think about buying other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why you can buy in Canada, and this is why there's a lot of advice out there that's not Canadian. There's a lot of American advice on M&A, which is different. The SBA program is very different than the Canadian programs. But there's a program called the CSFBL where they will fund up to 100% of leasehold improvements. They'll fund up to 90% of assets and up to 150,000 of inventory, say if it's the retail store.
Mm-hmm.
And so this business that we bought, Home Staging, it's a warehouse full of furniture and trucks and all these leasehold improvements they made to organize the warehouse with all the racking and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say every business will be like that. Because if I was to buy like a retail store, normally you'll pay some amount of money for the like some multiple on the profit of the retail store, and you'll have to pay for inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this business, as well as any business that has lots of assets to do the business, say you're a construction company, there's a lot of assets to do the business. In our business, there's a lot of furniture assets to do the business of staging.
Of course. Yeah.
So they're not sold separately. They're just a part of it. And potentially the asset value is greater than the purchase price.
Sure.
And if that's the case, those are really good opportunities. Now, the downside, as I now in the business, is asset-heavy businesses require investments. So we had to put more money into the company to help it grow. And I'm buying assets to help the company grow. I buy a truck, I'm buying more furniture, like I'm buying things to help it grow because it's an asset-based business versus a service-based business. There's no assets to buy. You just grow the service probably through marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside is a service-based business, you're not going to get as much financing. So the BDC is really good at financing service-based businesses.
Mm.
They will typically only give you up to 2/3 of the purchase price. Still great, right? To be able to buy a $600,000 business, right? A business at $200,000 in profit, you're probably going to buy for 3 times EBITDA. It's usually 2 to 3 times the seller's discretionary earnings in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the SD is $200,000. Let's say you're buying it for $600,000. It's a service-based business like plumbing or landscaping or something. The BDC will give you $400,000. You'll have to put $200,000 down. Where for our business, because there's so many assets, we put down $60,000 to buy a $600,000 business. However, we had to we'll probably put in another $100,000 into the business, but in assets, which help the company make money and actually increase the valuation of the company. So it's been an interesting game there. And then we got TD and RBC to both vie for the business. Another thing I recommend, get more people to compete for the business.
Around. On the lender side, of course, you mean?
So RBC was the one who got in there and gave us just made it awesome. So I love RBC. They've helped me with all my businesses. They always come through. Everyone always gives them a bad rap. Mm-hmm. But for me, they've always come through.
Yeah.
And they funded it. Now, here was another thing that we were trying to close during Christmas and New Year's, which is not good for banks and lawyers.
This is true. We would know that too.
So fortunately, we had the money to buy the company ourselves, like straight up. Because I didn't get the money from the bank until 2 weeks after it closed.
Right.
Because of Christmas and all that stuff. So I would also in the future make sure that I have the money in my hand before I buy the business. Like fortunately, we just had the money. They gave it to us, but I would say those are the big things. The we asked for a 10% of the purchase price was for a holdback. So a holdback is, you do your best in due diligence, but like you don't quite know everything. And the owner might, not in a
malicious way,
yeah, they might not know things or forget things, or oh yeah, shit, I forgot I had to pay that person, I had to do this, I had to cover that expense. So the holdback, so I'm not paying the full holdback because I had to pay things that the previous owner should have paid for before closing.
Of course, yeah.
So luckily I have a holdback to reduce. I would push that holdback up. Usually you can get up to 25% of the purchase price as a holdback. So in the future, I will push that holdback up.
Yeah.
Maybe even extend it from 4 months to 6 months just to wait for more shit to kind of surface.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's hard to sell people on earnouts, and they talk about it. Depending on the business, you can do it, but it's hard. It's like business owners, like, I'm not going to put too much of my future on the new owner.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And then, but I wish I had a bigger holdback. I probably could have got one, but overall, I think we did really well with the the way it all worked out, financing. And then, people said, because we didn't, when you buy a company, sometimes you expect or demand the company to keep some cash in the bank for working capital.
Right.
Other times when you buy a company, it's cash-free, debt-free. So there's no debt because we bought asset. We didn't buy a share. Yeah. We bought the asset. We did an asset purchase. So that usually means cash-free, debt-free. There's no debt, but there's also no cash. So then the owner, had to have, above my down payment, I had to have money for working capital to, do payroll in the first 2 weeks when I haven't fully collected and all that stuff.
Right. As you're getting accounts receivable. And I'm sure there's a lot you looked at on accounts receivable. I'm sure that was a massive business killer if you don't have that figured out. So there's lots of talk we can go down here in the last kind of 10. I'm trying to think about, one big concern many people have is like, what if the staff don't like me? What if they all leave? Now it's on me. How do I make sure that they actually are excited to have me there versus they're like, who is this guy? I feel threatened. So there's kind of that personal bit, which I'm sure then we can talk about. I also think about also just the levers you can pull, and this is maybe part of your DD. It's like, you talked about, is this something aligned with my superpowers? Do I like it? Do I have industry expertise? But it's a whole other various set of podcasts. But I guess within the topics of like people, smooth handoff on people, and some due diligence on the people, of course. And then levers you can pull to be like, how much can I really improve this business? Let's say it's a perfect business, but it's making X. Can I put in AI transformation? Can I do this? Like, I guess it's knowing what are your secret levers you can pull, assuming the staff are happy or happier to work with you. So why don't you work within those two topics and see what else comes up? Yeah.
Okay, so for the people, the GM, the operator, we didn't want to buy a job. We wanted to buy a business that had a team, that had an operator, so we didn't have to do the work.
Totally.
So that person is super important. Yeah. There's a risk that they're gonna leave, but I think here's what I've now come to realize: the business is selling for a reason, and usually when the business is selling, the owner is checked out.
Yeah.
If the owner is checked out, the team doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So when we got in there, they were so happy to have new owners who are energized and ready to invest in the business because their career is capped by the owner.
Yeah.
So if you come in with ideas and vision and energy and growth opportunity, and you listen to the things that they didn't like about the last boss, and you just don't do that, then I think you're safe with the key people. So you need to meet the GM, the operator of the business. So in interior design staging, there's like the GM, then there's the head of sales, and the head of design. Mm-hmm. The head of design, she quit. She quit 2 weeks into it, and we had heard things about her in terms of like just constantly emotionally up and down and issues on the team, but she'd been there longer than anyone. She'd been there 15 years. Like her life was this business, and she was a really good designer. Mm-hmm. And when we came in with all these changes to their tech and the way they operated, she like just got so overwhelmed and was like, this is not the business that I'm used to. I don't want to change. And so she is out. At first, that was like, oh God, we just bought a business and our head of design just retired and quit. But everything happens for a reason. And the team is happier now because we got to hire, because we know how to hire and know how to find people and create culture and create vision and create values. And she was the wrong person to be the head of design. So we now have new people coming in, and everyone who is still there is like, oh my God, the energy and the morale is so much better because we now have the right leaders in that department with the good that the person before had, but without the bad the person before had. Because we were able to sit down and be like, all right, guys, we get to have a new head. Who do we want? What do we want? Mm-hmm. What are we looking for? If GM left, that would suck. So you just need to incentivize and motivate and build a great relationship with that person. Like, and usually that person, they haven't got profit sharing. They haven't had growth opportunities. They want the company to grow. They have issues. Like this GM was running the business for the owner. The owner was doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so she had no support. So I think you can just be the right person and prevent the team from the good people from leaving, because the good people just want more support, more resources, more energy, more vision. The bad people will leave, and that's great because they'll make room for new, better people. Yeah. When it comes to the levers to pull, we in the due diligence, that's where it was all figured out. Like we had a sense of what we needed to cut from the due diligence and from that initial meeting in the first 2 weeks before we took over. And then it just became super clear. Like, yep, we don't need this person. We don't need to do this process, which is costing labor, therefore money. We don't need this technology. We don't need this expense. Like, you can just go through line by line, every single expense, and just talk to the team. And if you know how to run a business, you can just lean things out. And
that's the fear, though. Back to people, like, isn't that the big fear? They're going to cut a bunch of things. So how'd you get over people?
The people that we
expense
cut,
item.
People that we cut were people the team would have chose to cut.
How do you have the conversation? It's kind of like, who do we vote off the island? How do you have that talk?
That's exactly what we say.
Okay.
We say,
hey, were the people who got voted off the island in the room, or how did you know? Approach that?
You have one-on-one conversations.
Okay, got it. Okay.
But you learn, you're like, who could take, like, you want more responsibility? Yeah. Whose job could you do?
No, interesting. That's very interesting. Of course.
You listen to like the friction, and you're like, yeah, what if that person wasn't here? What would we do?
Yeah.
And then a person's work is either contributing to revenue or decreasing expenses, or they're not.
Right. Yeah. Very objectively.
They're like, and there was, and I did this in my last company where I held on to people because of relationship and loyalty that were just fat on the company.
Yeah.
And usually when you're buying businesses, you're buying them from people who are older, and the way they run things is inefficient. This company was run on paper, pen, whiteboards.
Right.
They had a physical server.
Yeah.
They had an outsourced IT company. I'm like, you guys rent furniture. This is not a tech company. Why do you need them? Well, because we need this hyper secure. What do you need security for? You rent furniture. This is not healthcare. This is not a bank. And yet this guy had been sold all these expenses. Right. And I was like, you don't need any of this stuff. Simplify the business and we increased profitability. This company was losing tens of thousands of dollars a month. Now it's making tens of thousands and probably over $100,000 this month.
Wow.
Like we cut the fat. And at first the team was like, really? And we're like, yeah, don't worry. If the company is on Microsoft, get rid of it. Microsoft is the worst system ever. And the only reason why companies need to be on Microsoft is because they're in healthcare, they're in banking, or they're in some industry that needs that security and encryption and all that crap. Because Microsoft is so buggy, the amount of time wasted fixing and waiting blew my mind. Yeah. And so we're like, get rid of these fucking computers. We're buying Macs. We're getting on Google, and we're just running this company with a completely different tech stack. Yeah. And I'm going to show you what ChatGPT is. None of them knew what ChatGPT was. None of them knew any of these tools. And that's what's great about buying businesses where the owners are in their 60s or 70s. They have not implemented any of this stuff. And that is the opportunity, is you can increase the productivity, efficiency so easily if you are young and tech savvy.
Yeah, beautiful. Great roundup. No, there's a lot to dig in there. So I heard addition by subtraction. In terms of just like tweaking something or adding something even. Is it
social media. Check this out.
Just marketing.
Zero social media. Amanda got started with social media, and we went after one. We've just gone after one partnership. We're like, wait, your business comes from here, and we don't have like an official partnership with these people to like get more business from them, where we give them some money to give us more business. Like this is like affiliate referral reward 101, and we have one partnership and started social media marketing, and our revenue went up 45% in Q1 from the previous quarter. Wow. Here was a really cool conclusion. Holy shit. Total epiphany, mind blowing. So I used to think when I looked at a business, because before we were like our past business, we were sales and marketing machines, like huge SDR teams, ad funnels, fucking everything. We did everything you could imagine to make sales. Like just everything that you could think of, we did to make money. Right. So then when we went to look at businesses, we're like, so how do you guys make sales? At first, when I heard, oh, it's just relationships and referrals, I was like, what? I was like, how am I supposed to work with that? I don't know how to like scale that. Like you can't scale that. Yet, so many businesses that have been around for 10, 20 plus years. Right. Relationship and referral. Like literally, when we stepped in the business, we're like, how is this going to make money? Like that was a fear. And they're like, I don't know, the phone just rings. I was like, what do you mean the phone just rings? You mean like you do nothing and the phone rings? They're like, yeah. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And I'm like, what is going on? How are you guys making money? You do nothing. You just wait for the phone and email to come in saying, please hire me. I'm hiring you. I'm hiring you. But the company was so good. Like Dekora is so good. The reputation is so good. The relationships are so good. They do such a good job. That's exactly what happens. Which means if you find companies in the future, when I find companies who are 100% relationship and referral, who have been around for 10 plus years with zero marketing, social media is the perfect thing for them. Right. Because social media is branding. And the company clearly has a brand because they just get hired out of thin air. Right. So you start even just telling your fans and your friends and your customers all the great things that you do, it rings more. Right. And or that you've done. Like you interview your top 10 customers and like do a video series on them, right? Because our last business, the one thing that did not work, organic social media content. Right. Yeah. Because we had no brand. Right. Now that we're buying companies who have brand,
Yeah.
Dude, social media marketing, organic social media marketing just crushes. And I finally have experienced it because I hear this, but I never experienced it. And like now I'm like, I get it now. So good. Holy.
Interesting, because you're amplifying a brand that's already known offline, basically. Now, when people see it online, they've already interacted with it offline, so they've got a strong affinity, and then you're measuring success on that through more orders, and you're tracking things and all that stuff. But
I'm like, do you guys do email marketing? They're like, no. Postcards?
Wild.
No. Like, do anything? No. What?
Yeah. Wow.
What?
Yeah. That's super cool. Oh yeah. Juicy one. And I guess what's the next year like? So just timelines again. You're looking at deals for how long?
We aggressively started. So there was a long period of us figuring out what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
In 2024, like that was like 3 months of just what do we, because I believe that once you are clear and have a clear vision, a clear target, the world opens up, right? I'm a big law of attraction thing, and I know that if I'm not clear, I ain't gonna find it. So I spent a lot of
clear being the niche. We're doing interior design.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time just like getting clear on what we were looking for, and then within 2 months of looking at 50 businesses.
50 businesses.
This is another thing that some people do wrong. Some people, I was in those communities, as you said before the show.
Yeah.
People have been looking for like a year. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, how have you not bought a business already? Like, I don't get it. How have you not bought a business? We did 50 businesses. We reviewed 50 businesses in 2 months, went into due diligence with 2, and then 2 months later, closed.
Wow, and so you work with realtors to find who's actually selling, or are they on MLS, etc.?
So there's a whole bunch of websites online.
Yeah.
And then the business will either have a broker that you talk to, or you'll just talk directly to the seller.
Yeah.
Or through the platform.
But it's all listed, nothing off market, etc. They're all just publicly.
No, yeah, nothing off market. I attempted that a little bit, and it just did not work. It was just.
It's harder, obviously, but you think you'd find the gems like that. But I guess if they're already on there, they won't want to sell.
We found a fucking gem. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then 50. And then like just the go to market there is like, how long is it like DD on one? Is it like an hour? Like you kind of, you ask for financial, you get the nice due diligence.
DD's intense. DD is intense. Like that.
Well, you did DD on 2, but you took a sniff test on 48 others. So the sniff test, let's call it, is like just like a standard review of the document, maybe a ChatGPT script that reads them, and then you have your checklist and end off on a bit of like how you quickly filtered to know what's worth DD, I guess, or just even just your DD process, super quick.
So
not DD, sorry, your sniff test.
The first sift. So you reach out to businesses. I'm interested. Give me everything that you can to analyze the deal. Then I'll have like my criteria. Yeah. Okay, how many years in business? What's the revenue? What's the SDs? The industries I like. So you're basically, once you get all the information, able to see which ones check all the necessary boxes. Yeah, so then you're already sifting out more than half of them.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, I have a series of questions. I'm going to send all these questions now to the broker or the owner. Yeah. And then once I get them all back, after that, I sift even more out, and then we got down to like 5, and then I asked some more questions, and then I got down to 2, and I went to 2, and then I said, okay, cool. I'll put in an actual LOI offer, and let's start like hardcore DD on these 2 businesses.
Yeah. Got it. Cool. Nice. Good.
So yeah, like hours wise, I think you spend 2 hours in the first sift, another 2 to 4 hours in second sift, and then a lot of hours on that DD. So and the broker told me, the broker's like, I've never had anyone ask me more questions ever. And I'm like, well, I think it's dumb if people don't.
Yeah, it means the bar set a little bit low. And you said 2 hours on the first sift. This is per file out of the 48 others, or 2 hours aggregate, or it was 2 hours per?
Yeah, like 1 to 2 hours per 50 businesses.
Got it.
The first sift. Right, because I'm like just looking at a bunch of stuff and like giving it a chance and seeing it. Because like when you're buying a business, like you don't. It's so weird. This is the one thing that's weird is you're not starting it, so you have to like you're not just going to love the business right away.
Yeah.
Yet you need to love the business.
Yeah.
So you got to like try to love it. and if I'm too quick, I could dismiss what looks like work and looks kind of weird. But I could end up going, oh wow, this business looks actually really good. It's just this weird recycling plant in northern BC. Oh, it's this weird waste management business in northern Alberta. Oh, it's this weird like window cleaning business in Vancouver. Like it's just it's like stuff that I would never think to start.
Yeah.
But hey, if a business has got longevity and profitability and
reputation,
opportunity, I mean, I'm now in the business of looking for that.
Yeah, very interesting. Big mindset shift from A, building business, B, going from your preferred industry. So yeah, super cool that you guys found that. So what's next for you? Things you want to put out there in terms of people you want to talk to, and what's on the roadmap?
I'm interested in buying more interior design staging businesses.
Yep.
However, to expand to more geographic areas. However, what I have come to be more interested in is buying businesses that are ancillary that I can add on. Because if I already have the customer, can I also do the marketing for that person's listing? Can I also do the painting, the landscaping, the moving, the cluttering? Like there's all these other services. I think it's better for me to add on to the business than for me to go expand in more geographic areas, at least for this business I'm in. Yeah. Because the economies of scale don't really happen in this business that I'm in. That's my new, like some businesses you would get economies of scale. This one, not as much. So I'd rather just make more money when I get the customer.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm looking to grow the business in Calgary, and then I'm starting a tennis brand. So like I am starting a business because I'm that crazy passionate enough about tennis to go down the path to try to actually make money in it.
Yeah, good for you. I know it's been something brewing since your Grand List Low More podcast episode. That was an intention you put out there. Some level of that. So good you're sticking with it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, you got a lot out of today, man. This is a great catch up to understand that process. And I know there's so much more to it, but you got pretty detailed. So for a lot of aspiring, business purchase owners, we'll call them, who, just again, like you were doing something that was familiar, maybe was put on a pedestal and had its level of success. And then just through talking to some slightly wiser people who are like, why would you grind that hard? A lot of that is ego, right? Buy a business, leverage 20 years of reputation building, which apparently is all they need to do, which actually it's a good indicator, as you said, and that's where you put fuel to the fire. Like, why not just work smart? And, I'm sure you learned a lot during how to do proper DD and how to look at first steps and all that, but that's just having growth mindset. You already got the systems. And it must have been really interesting, just honestly helping someone pass on the baton. And I think instead of it being like you're the bad guy, and to some people you were, right? But that's business, right?
Totally good. Totally, the purchaser, I would think more often than not, is the good guy. Like in all these small businesses,
for sure. Of course, overall, yes, right. Yeah. But there's some friction, and you handled it, and there's this certain nuance. We talked about the people side, and ultimately, if it's 10 people that are all unhappy not growing to like 5 people that are excited and growing, that's gonna have a big ripple effect.
So here's something that people should hear, because I went into it being like, oh man, the team is gonna love us because we're gonna bring energy and vision and growth, and everyone in this world, that's what they want. They want growth and opportunity. Yeah. And Amanda, she was like, no. These people have been working here for a long time. They want things to stay the same. Like, don't try to like ruffle any feathers and don't try to like give them some crazy grand vision of what we're going to do. Like, don't do that. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't think people are like that. I think people always want growth. She's like, no. And in this business, Amanda's the CEO this time. So I was like, fine. She was wrong. I was right. They all want growth. And as soon as they started thinking that, they were loving it. And I truly think that everyone who works at a company, they want things to get better. They want to grow. They want to grow in their career. They want to grow their skills. They want to grow their experiences. They want to grow their income. And any new owner that gives them that vision, they're going to be excited about. And now Amanda's like, okay, you were right. And so that's all we're now focused on is vision and growth and future and opportunity. And that's what they need from a leader. I think that's how you keep the team really happy and really excited. And I'll just say, like, going through this, wow, it's lifestyle wise, it's so much better. Like owning a business and building one. This is such a hack. And in this world where like you don't know what's going to happen, like what the hell is happening in our country, in the U.S. country, what's happening in the world, what's happening with AI? There's so much uncertainty. There are fundamental businesses that are needed in the world and they are for sale. And so I did the math on my cash on cash return. Real estate won't touch this. Bitcoin won't touch this. Stock market won't touch this.
Yeah.
Like starting a new business, probability wise, won't touch this.
Right.
Everyone who's saying like you should go buy businesses in there, it is for sure a thing. And what's cool is the business that's right for Paul is different than what's right for me. So everyone can buy one. Yeah.
And again, it's the opportunity of not many new generations want to take over their mom or dad's business because their head's maybe somewhere else. So lots of social and economic and scientific tailwinds towards just people aging out, right? So yeah, maybe it's catching more momentum now, and maybe the financiers getting more familiar with it. They're getting more sort of flexible. They're tailoring more. There's even government incentives actually towards buying businesses. It's a handing of the torch and the baton, and time for the new generation to bring in fresh energy, as you said, and help everyone grow, and also do it from a lens of what's ethical and right and what society values nowadays. It was very different than 5-10 years ago. So that's a podcast for another day. But Grant, congrats on 0 to 1's always the hardest. So way to get the first one in, and excited to support you as you level up in the different businesses and the different niches you can conquer. So way to go, man! This is awesome.
Cool, thanks, buddy.